Hello, everyone. Welcome to this week's episode on Laid Back the Atirozinga podcast. And our topic for this week is tax and finance, catching them young. And our guest for this week is Nnanna and Ekumankama, who is a tax accountant in Nigeria. Hello, Nnanna. Welcome to the show.
Hello, Arinze. Hi, guys. It's
Yeah,
good to be with you.
it's my pleasure. So let me give you a little bit of a background story. So I've known Nnanna for how many years now?
If I'm not mistaken, that's
10 to 20.
20. Yeah.
Yeah. So
Yeah. About that.
But by my understanding, this is your first time as a guest on a podcast, isn't it?
Yes, it is.
Yeah. So, what are your expectations then?
I hope to have fun.
Mm-hmm.
I hope to enjoy myself, and then hopefully try to make sense to you guys. Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
So, let's start with this question then. So, why do you think it's important to teach children about money?
If you're going to ask, it's like asking, why should children start going to school early?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so they go to school early because it's going to be easier for them to learn at a younger age.
Mm-hmm.
There's this proverb they say it's difficult for an adult to learn a new language. It's way more difficult for an adult to learn a new language compared to a kid.
Yeah, true.
So if you start at a very young age, it sets the child on the right path to financial discipline and all that. So I believe it's important to start at a very young age to tell them there are several different ways you can do that. It doesn't necessarily need to be stuff from a textbook or anything like that.
Okay.
It could be just, the way you guys just play at home or in school. Yeah. You'll be able to transmit that knowledge to them somehow.
Okay.
Yeah. So.
Okay. But when we say we want to teach kids about money, but what age is the best time to actually start? Because I've heard some people say it's better to start telling them about money when they're in their teens. But what do you think? Do you think it's appropriate to start at a younger age or in teenagers? What do you think?
According to a study
Yeah.
I read recently, it says 6 to 7 years old.
Okay.
You should start teaching them about finance, about money management.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, whether be it in schools or at home. Yeah.
Yeah. So, do you think at 6? Okay, because think about it. This is what I'm trying to ask now. Yeah, the study may say 6 to 7 years, and maybe the study is actually focused on people in the West. Maybe they didn't take cognizance of people in Africa, Asia, whatever. But I'm just saying, do you think at 6 to 7 years old, children are equipped or developed per se to understand at least the basic concept of money? Do you think that developed at that age to understand?
Okay. Why don't you go with me?
Yeah.
So you have a child who is 6, 7, and I believe at that age they had already started doing chores.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, even if they're just small chores at home. Now imagine if you promised a certain amount of money for every chore that they do. Now you're going to be teaching them that for you to get money, you need to work for it. And then whenever you don't work, you don't get paid. So if we say, for example, in Nigeria, you're giving them, let's say, 1,000 naira per chore, you find out there would be this eagerness to try to earn even more money. I don't know if you're getting me.
Yeah.
So it tells them, okay, I worked for this money. This is the amount of effort I put in to make this money.
Yeah.
And definitely they're going to know, they're going to value this money even more.
Yeah. Yeah, because they work for it.
Yes. And then apart from that, you're also making them put in the extra work. So they're learning discipline, they're learning hard work, at the same time. So with that, if the child grows up to his old age, he will always know that anytime he sees where money is being mismanaged, what is going to be coming to his mind now is, do you know how much work I put in to get that money?
Yeah.
Like if a third party should come in and say, borrow me that your 1,000, and at the end the person doesn't pay back, how do you think the child is going to feel?
Yeah.
Well, because the first thing that's going to come to his mind is, I just put 3 hours of work. This guy is taking up 3 hours worth of money, or a day's worth of money, and then he's being careless about it. So those little things. There's this other thing they do in. I saw it in my child's school. So what they do for that age grade, they started at that age. So what they do is, there is a reward for every time you do well in certain, maybe assignments, for example, or just the normal discipline in class, which is like, okay, no noise making. You get. So
it's like creating like a reward system, but this time around using money.
Exactly. And then what they did was, okay, they didn't use like real money, so they were not real notes.
Yeah.
But they used like there were these printed fake notes, basically.
Yeah.
So for every time you do well, for every time there's a good behavior, they encourage that with payment. And whenever there's a bad behavior, they withdraw from what you have.
Okay.
So you understand. With that, I don't think you don't necessarily need to go to the blackboard to go and explain anything to the child concerning what you get as a reward for money and all that. So that's why I said that there are several, just a bit dramatic, but it works. It works really well.
Okay. That takes, but I'm going to take you back a little bit to your point where you said imagine a child like lending his hard-earned 1,000 naira to a friend, and the person doesn't want to pay back. Yeah. So how do you teach your child about loans as well? Because loans and debt, because that's part of loan, because he's lending to a friend or to a family member, and the person doesn't want to pay back. How do you explain that using that concept to the child?
Well, if I put myself as what now? Okay, as the parent, and you as the child, and I borrow you money.
Okay.
Because you asked for it.
Yeah.
And I let you know that, okay, at this particular time you should be able to pay that money. And if you don't pay that money,
There'll be consequences.
There's a consequence for that.
Yeah.
So you can do the real financial way. Okay, if you don't pay at so time, you're going to pay a penalty for defaulting, which is maybe an additional sum. You know, and
Yeah.
that again goes to him as well. If he's the one borrowing to someone, borrowing to myself, he should be able to do the same.
Okay.
Because that's really the only way.
Yeah. No, because it's just that you mentioned it, and I was thinking how we can actually use that concept to teach children about loans as well, because
like I said,
because I think it's important to teach them as well, even if you want to borrow or lend, like this time around lending but borrow.
Yeah.
You should actually be the kind of person that's trustworthy to start with.
Yes.
That's my point.
Yeah. And then again, we can't rule out the aspect of these children are really smart these days.
Yeah.
So they watch you, how you conduct your business, how you interact with other people.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
Even when it's just like beating the traffic.
Yeah.
Yeah. You might think I didn't know my child is 3 now, and I didn't know he knew when it was time to go. That for some, I just didn't feel they had taught him yet.
Yeah.
You know? But then we're at the traffic light, and luckily for me, I had no intentions of, beating the traffic.
Yeah.
And then I noticed he now said, okay, that is time to go. And I was shocked,
Yeah.
Because if I had disobeyed traffic, he would notice it.
Yeah.
And then he will feel it's okay to do that. Because, my dad just did it.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
Yeah. So there are just several other little things, like the way you handle your businesses, money, whether it's borrowing, whether it's saving. They see all these things,
Yeah.
Yeah, and they just, if you're growing up with a parent who hardly knows how to manage money, you're always going to be seeing your dad panicking at certain points
because of money,
whether it's towards the end of the month or whether it's when it's time to repay your mortgage or something. You just sense it, and even though you feel okay, they're children, believe me, they see they see the things. Yeah. So, and then they will just feel, okay, I think that's the way it should be, but then it's not.
Yeah.
So, although it's that's why I said, like, when we're talking when you're talking to a 7-year or a 6-year-old, it's going to be, it might not be time to go towards the lending or the borrowing part. because it might be a bit more complicated to explain as compared to if you're just teaching him, okay, how to manage this particular amount that you have, you know. So when you're going into lending, it's more like you're going a step further. So I believe it's a gradual thing, but then at that age is appropriate to start that with. Yeah.
Okay. So, but since we've been talking about teaching the children and how you notice your child or watches what you do, but taking it now to the educational context, why do you think financial education is not part of their curriculum now?
I wouldn't say it's not part, because I think like when I explained how they reinforce good behaviors in school with the fake notes.
Yeah.
Indirectly, it's part of, like, it's not.
They're already doing it. Yeah.
Yeah, it's just a bit informal.
Yeah.
But then I also noticed it is not the case everywhere. So it might just be a few schools who claim, okay, we are doing maybe the British curriculum or something like that, that will say, okay, yeah, maybe in the government schools, the public schools, you might not see teachers who would have time to do that, and so there is a gap there.
Okay.
There's still a gap there. So I believe some schools are still heavily focused on what is in their textbooks, you know.
Okay.
And sometimes they still use even the old editions. You know? So
but that's why I'm actually asking actually. So how can we actually inculcate this talking about finance and money and personal everything into the curriculum for this case? Do you think the onus is on the parents or the education system, or do you think it should be a collaborative effort between the two?
To answer the question, I would say it should be collaborative. And now we have a system where parents are invited most of the time to come in for meetings, to come in for PTAs and all that. It firstly is important that as a parent you attend such meetings, because it's only when you attend such meetings that you understand, okay, where they are going to, and then you'll be able to now chip in your suggestions and all that. And so if you go to a PTA meeting, for example, you would have the opportunity to say, okay, please, what are you guys doing when it comes to money management? How are you guys teaching my kids how to manage money? You can also go ahead and say, okay, these are the steps I have taken at home to do certain things. And you can also even have a private discussion with, okay, whoever it is, like the head of the teacher,
school.
the head of school, and then before you know it, what they usually do is, from time to time, they can invite people who are, maybe in quotes, professionals in that field, to come in just 30 minutes to an hour, talk to the children, dramatize the whole thing for them, you know. From maybe you do that once quarterly, you know, and all that. But then if you are not invested in such meetings, you wouldn't have the opportunity to do that, you know. and then again, you also need teachers who are willing to do that for you too, because some people might say, okay, that's not part of my job description, and then
yeah, but that's what I'm asking, right? Because if it is part of the curriculum now, the teacher can say it's not part of their job description. Do you see what I mean? So, do you think, so the collaborative effort? Do you think it should be like a collaborative effort during maybe the parent teachers association, like when they come together to have like reach a consensus and say, okay, do you know what? We're going to add this. This should be included in the children curriculum. Maybe we'll not start primary 6. We'll start it from next year and try it out and see like how students respond to it. Then we can continue.
I think if I'm not mistaken, the curriculum comes from the government.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it might not be something that should just that can be decided in a PTA meeting.
Yeah.
So usually, principals or head of schools would then make these suggestions to the required organization, and that's the only way. That's the only way that can work. But then, where I am on now is the school can, on their own, just decide to do that informally.
Mm-hmm.
Just set up that's you can easily do that with your teachers and just tell them, okay, why don't it can even be fun, for the kids. Yeah. So it doesn't need to be a formal thing, or we don't need to have where we now have to set exams for money management. I don't think it's that deep at that level yet.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Yeah, but it's not about going deep. It's just for them to actually just understand the concept of effort and reward as well, because it's part of it.
Exactly.
Yeah, but when we've talked about understanding effort, reward, loans, being a lender, now when we talk about taxes, right? What are taxes and what are different types of taxes, so that we can actually explain this to the kids?
Okay. A tax is a compulsory levy collected by the government, and it's used to fund government projects. Basically, that's what taxation is.
Okay.
And so it's an obligation. It's not something you choose whether to do or not. So as long as you are a citizen of a particular country, you are supposed to pay tax if you're earning an income, or if as an individual or as a company. And so as an individual, like in Nigeria, where I'm from, where I reside, as an individual, you pay your personal income tax as an employee, or if you're self-employed, doing your private business. As a company, you pay your company income tax and value-added tax, and there's several other taxes.
Yeah.
That are to be paid by individuals or companies in Nigeria.
Okay.
So it's important to understand that it's an obligation. Yeah.
Okay, so from what you just said, so we can all assume that the onus or the obligation is on everybody, the individual, the self-employed person, and the companies to actually pay the tax.
Yes.
And this tax is going actually to the government.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. And of course, there's a formula for sharing that revenue.
Okay.
So between the federal, states, and the local government.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, um, you did mention that the taxes are used to fund government projects.
Yes.
Like, so, could you give us an example of these government projects? And are there other things, other other things these taxes are actually channeled towards?
Okay. So, if you notice, every time a new government comes in, one of the first things they will say is, we need money to run the government.
Yeah.
And it's just basically means expenditure on public goods, and this would include hospitals, roads, infrastructure, yeah, and even security, you know.
Yeah.
A lot of that.
Oh.
So it is yeah, I'm listening.
Yeah, but I'm just thinking now, right?
Yeah.
It's a bit different, but just correct me if I'm wrong. If we can use this analogy to teach the tax system to kids, assuming children, because most of the time, like when we were younger, we were part of clubs, maybe doing our PE, physical education, maybe football club, dance club, like all this kind of stuff. Is it that like getting them to pay club fee or club levy, and then the fee they pay for this levy is now used to redevelop the club in one way or the other? Can we use that to actually teach them about tax system? Because it's like their money is going back into like creating these infrastructures or systems in place to make their clubs better.
I think that's an excellent idea, actually.
Yeah.
Because it's practical, it's easy to remember.
Yeah.
I mean, if like I always say, imagine if you were to teach kids tax, and then you come in with some guys who would just act different scenarios of how the tax system works.
Yeah.
So you have somebody who is collecting the tax, you have somebody who is paying the tax, you have somebody who has defaulted and then is being punished.
Okay.
You know, imagine where you act a drama of a drama that says okay, we just caught an individual or a company who has refused to pay their taxes, and then we have locked up their place of business, we have frozen their accounts, we have seized all their assets and all that.
Yeah.
If you play that out in front of kids, I can bet you, if you meet up with them, maybe
they'll be scared.
20 years later, they would always remember, okay, there was a time, do you remember when there was this drama in school, and then what happened to that guy that failed to pay his taxes? It would just be, somewhere in their head.
Mm-hmm.
And that, okay, this is what is going to happen, this is why I should pay my taxes and all that. So I agree with you. If you did that, I mean, it wouldn't be, I feel to a large extent it will help to reduce the negativity we have towards paying taxes, because you're already used to that kind of system at that young age.
Yeah.
You're already used to the fact that, okay, I have to pay for this, so that we can do this in the school and do and that. So
at least
yeah,
and they see those things being manifested.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. Although that is another problem because
Exactly.
um
Because if you tell them you are paying 20 naira per se,
yeah,
and this 20 naira is going back into developing the class, let's say the class, and they
yeah,
come back, the class is still the same. There's nothing new. The chairs are broken. Like there's nothing new they can see that the money has been spent on.
they wouldn't pay
If you
again.
exactly. If you tell them to do it again, I don't think they will listen to you.
They wouldn't pay again.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's important, especially from where we're coming from. It's been difficult because the culture is already a problem because people don't think, okay, our taxes are being used to their benefits, that they're still suffering even after paying huge taxes. They're not enjoying any benefits, and so it's difficult to change that perception until they actually start seeing, these developments. They actually start seeing that their lives are made easier, that their businesses are being aided by, the policies of the government, So it's a bit difficult. That's why we still have a lot of people who evade taxes in this part of the world.
And that's another story for another day.
Yes, it is actually.
Yeah, but because of time, right? So I'm going to ask you one final question. So, if we've been talking about creating this curriculum for children, and you said the main owners actually because the curriculum comes from the government per se down to the primary schools and the rest of them. But if the government says now, okay, we are inviting parents and teachers to actually come together to create a curriculum on finance and taxation, and you are given the mantle to actually head this committee and come up with this curriculum, how do you think you go about it?
If you work, you need willing teachers. You need teachers who don't mind being, creative about this, because we are dealing with kids, and it shouldn't be complicated at all.
Yeah, it should be fun as well.
It should be fun, and then it should be in the simplest form, And so if you introduce like what we talked about earlier, that little reward system, and and what the things that you would do that will make you lose money or mismanage money, I think it will go a long way. It's not even difficult at all. You just need people who are willing to do it, people who are open to, because a lot of people will look at it and be like, it's a waste of their time when they're supposed to be teaching them maths and further maths and all that, and sciences. Why are they wasting time with all this? And then it also builds I think it builds your reasoning, your IQ. It can't be underestimated. So, but you need people who would buy into that. So you need teachers who have the right mindset, to do these things in school. Yeah. And well, for me, the best motivation for teachers is usually the salaries.
Yeah.
Now,
and promotions.
Yeah. I have seen in private schools where teachers who are teaching same classes are not on the same salary. Maybe because one has a master's degree and the other one doesn't have something like that. And I will notice that it might look like a little difference, but then for me
it affects their motivation.
Yes, it affects their motivation, especially when the other guy knows, okay, this person is earning higher than me. Now, between the both of them, who do you think is most likely going to go to the class cheerfully and try to teach a kid how to manage money?
It should be the person on the higher salary.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So it still goes back to, okay, say owner of the school or the government, being a government worker, they have to be on good salaries.
Yeah.
They have to be on good salaries. That is the only way they can do this thing with joy, and put in their best. Not the only way, but one of the ways.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, because apart from salaries, you can also improve, maybe add some other incentives. Maybe you're giving them a house, or you're giving them transportation, and all that. So
discounts, like things to make them happy.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I get that, because staff welfare is really, because sometimes people tend to forget that the welfare of teachers is really, really, really important, because if you want them to be happy and motivated to actually do the job, you need to find a way to actually appease them.
Yes.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Let me even give you another example. I've seen where a parent comes in to the class to drop his kid, and then on leaving the school, he calls the teacher to one side and says, okay, I have this 50,000, just hold it. You can do whatever it is you want to do with it. I just want to appreciate you.
What you've done.
What you've done. And then you have another parent who might not have that 50K. Genuinely, even if the person has, might just not want to give that 50K. How do you think? Don't you think the teacher is going to take better care of?
It's systematically, and even without knowing it will create bias.
Yes, and then ordinarily there might have been rules that say teachers shouldn't collect gratification.
Yeah, from parents. Yeah,
but then they need the money, so you're going to have occasions where they are going to damn the rules.
Yeah.
And so if they were on good salaries, these things would have been reduced.
Yeah.
There are several other examples. So I believe to a large extent it depends. The teachers need to be properly motivated. To do this. And then everybody can be on the same page.
Yeah, at least then you know that all hands on deck.
Exactly.
Yeah. I agree with that. Because since the government, they are the ones actually creating this curriculum, they should find a way to even involve the children in the curriculum making. But because they are still young, at least the parents should stand in for them. Exactly. Stand in for them along with the teachers to actually come up with a curriculum to actually make sure that these children understand financial education, because I think it's really, really important.
Yes, it is.
Thank you so much, Nnanna, for coming on to the show. This is all the time we have for this week.
Thank you for having me, Arenze.
How does it feel?
It feels good.
Do
Really
your
good.
first podcast then.
It feels really good. I can't wait to listen to it.
No problem. No problem. Hopefully we do this again sometime soon.
Yes. Hopefully, sure.
All right. Thank you so much.
Yeah, you're welcome.